like to call this meeting to order, please. And I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
Robin McNair, Board of Directors. I move to adopt the agenda as printed with flexibility.
With flexibility. Do I have a second?
Robin Hamilton, Amy Jackson, I second.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hamilton. Are there any questions or any additions anybody wants to make to the agenda? Therefore, I'll put the agenda before you. All in favor of approving? Oh, Robin?
I'm sorry, Madam President. Can you please add me at the bottom of appearances in reference to the support? I think we spoke about that last week for the family.
Same.
Gotcha.
Same.
Who had the tragedy.
Okay, Robin McNair. Okay. All in favor of accepting the agenda as presented, please raise your voting cards. Come on, don't be lazy. All opposed? Thank you very much. Abstentions? Okay, the approval of the minutes for the October, I'm gonna give you guys a second to simmer down. 9. Okay, is everybody ready? Okay, I'll entertain a move for the approval of the minutes for our October the 24th meeting. Yes. They were sent electronically to the building reps. There also were some in the back. The October ones and the November 15th are in the back. Annette, could you please go to the microphone and motion to accept the minutes, please? Laura, give me a second. So we can move to this today.
Jones, I move to accept the minutes
For October the 24th and November the
for October 24th and November 13th.
14th, I think it was 14th, 15th, excuse me.
Michelle Clark, Board of Directors, second.
Oh, okay, thank you very much, ladies. Somebody's moving around here. All in favor of accepting the minutes as presented, please say aye. All opposed? Okay. Appearances. Rowena Shern. Where is that beautiful girl? I know she's here somewhere. Robin, can you put me in the hall, in the corridor there? I'm gonna skip to, the Cora Rice Foundation. Did she make it? She sent me an email and said that she wasn't sure that she was gonna get here in time. I'm looking for Miss Malvo. She sent me an email and said that her husband was, having a medical procedure. Each year, the, Cora Rice Foundation and the Prince George's County Police Department, along with Local 2250, provides a holiday party for deserving children at Roosevelt High School. The 2250 provides the buses, and I volunteer every year to help out with the kids when they go to see Santa Claus. And there's really not enough teachers in the room. And if you are interested, it is the morning of December the 10th. The night before, on the 9th, they have a packing party where they pack all the gifts for the kids. But the actual event is the morning of the 10th. And where teachers are needed is they have the kids all sit in tables and they put together a little fake frame, like a styrofoam kind of frame thing. And then the kids go get a picture with Santa Claus, and the problem is you don't have teachers orchestrating that. So you can only imagine what first and second graders are doing with that styrofoam stuff and can't get it unpeeled. So, and then there's the simple little things like having the children walk in line. We know how to do that. Police get the kids to do it because they have guns. However, I would prefer that the police didn't have to pull out their Glocks in order to get the kids to walk down the line to go see Santa Claus. So if any of you have any time that morning on the 10th, I will be there. I've committed to be there for the past 5 years. And these are our children from our elementary schools. And if you are in an elementary school, you need to double check with your guidance counselors and make sure that the guidance counselors have submitted the names. School counselors, I'm sorry. Professional school counselors, I'll stand corrected.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in helping out on that day, it would mean a lot to me personally because these kids are the kids that normally don't get stuff for Christmas. And it's really a wonderful event. And if you're single, there's lots of police officers there. So let me know at the end of the meeting if you are interested. I'll have a list up here. Rowena Shern, did she come back in? She's still not here yet? I saw her, I just hugged her. Okay. All right, Robin, you want to go ahead? Why don't you give Rob McNair a hand? I don't know if you saw the MSCA action line. Her picture's on the front of it.
Yep.
Turn it on, baby.
Well, hello. I just wanted to bring the Target gift card for the young family that we spoke about last month and the box of toiletries. So I'm going to leave them in your hand, but I did want their council to see that I do have the gift cards that was taken up last year and the box of toiletries.
Okay. We're going to have a conversation about how to deliver it to the family. You and I will, because I'm going out of town on Wednesday. I may not get there tomorrow. Okay. We didn't come back in yet? Okay. Yvonne, can you come and chair the meeting for a second?
Are we,
Okay.
the chair recognizes the president. At the
Hello.
mic to my left,
I moved over here because I want to talk to you in a different role. My name is Teresa Dudley, and I'm running for NEA Director for the Maryland State Educators Association. And what that means is I would be an NEA Director. There are a couple hundred NEA directors from across the country. Each state has a certain amount. Maryland has 4. And I'm running for one of the vacancies in the upcoming election for MSCA. That's why I stepped over here, because I didn't want people to be confused about, why I was doing what I was doing. It is really important for us as an association to have somebody on that NEA board. We are one of the largest urban locals in the country. We are the 24th largest local in the country. So what that means is NEA is really watching what we're doing. That's why we're able to have the event that's coming up on December the 17th at NEA, because they want to work with us, because they want us to be a model affiliate. So when they bring others in from across the country, they can say, hey, let me take you over to Prince George's County. They've sort of set this up in Montgomery County already. They have their their institute that they have up there. They get an awful lot of grant money. And I don't know about you, but I sure want to be able to walk into Prince George's County Educators Association building and say, this is the Prince George's County Teachers Institute. And with the ESSA being reauthorized, we have a lot of work to do. And I want us to be on the forefront of innovation with that. Some of the surrounding jurisdictions are really working tightly with NEA. And if Prince George's County has somebody on that NEA board, and the person that's really working closest with them is Abby Baton out of Baltimore, out of Tabco, and she served as an NEA director for 6 years. So she already knows, because she was an NEA director before she became the president. So she's already in the pipeline getting all those things coming to her local. I want that stuff to come to us. So I think that we are poised for greatness, and I ask you for your support and your vote and for your endorsement to tell your friends that are working in the buildings that this is important. We've got some great things going in PGCEA, and I would like your support to keep it going. And we have the opportunity, if we do this right, not only to elect one, because you also serve on the NEA board and the MSCA board. And right now, Rowena's on the MSCA board by herself. So we saw what they did with the Martin Luther King Day breakfast. They tried to get rid of the Martin Luther King Day breakfast and make it a reception, a happy hour. MLK happy hour. So I just think that we need to have somebody on that board, and if we have an opportunity to elect 2 NEA directors, Rowena's running, I'm running, and if we can get PGCEA and 2250 to work together, so you gotta talk to the 2250 people in your building and get them to vote, Prince George's County can rule the world. So I ask you for your support, and I thank you.
I'm giving up the mic.
Rowena, sir, microphone 1.
I stepped out, so what am I up here for? Oh, okay. Wow. 2 things. You want the report for MSCA, and you want the speech for the candidates. So let me do the report for the MSCA. I'm going to apologize to you. I didn't know we were doing candidate speeches today, but we're educators, so we adjust. A couple of updates from MSCA. This is yeah. All right. So, the deadline for the Martin Luther King, as the president just spoke about, to register is on the 5th at 5 p.m. It would be nice to have as many participants from Prince George's County as possible. Again, the deadline to register for the MLK event is 5 p.m. On December. We have, for the first time ever, our new educators conference. MSCA is sponsoring it. Yes, let's clap for our new educators. It is this weekend, and we're really excited about that because it's the first time we're doing it. We think about how the percentage of teachers that turn over within the first 5 years. And so what the state of Philly is really doing is looking at how can we ensure that we have a viable workforce, a healthy workforce, and a workforce that's going to stay here for the long term. For those of you that are in your 20th year, your 25th year, and your 30th year, to make sure we have people that are going there and making and staying in this role for the long haul. So we're definitely excited about that. Next month, NEA is having their minorities leadership and women's leadership training in Tampa. Some of the members of your board will be a part of that training next month as well. Your local affiliate, it will be sending participants to the Organize to Lead conference. Your president will be speaking with you about that. We're looking at ways, we know what just happened in the election. And so instead of us being reactive, we want to be proactive and to ensure that the work that we've done as educators is not changed. Maryland has some of the best charter school laws in the country, literally in the country.
We're the only state in which charter schools are under the jurisdictions of the local school system. That is really important. That we are the only state in which the way our laws are written, charter schools must be under the local school system. Why is that important? That means they're certificated teachers before the students. Makes a difference. It makes a huge difference. So we're excited about that work. 2 commissions, they are getting ready to send reports to the General Assembly, one being the 21st Century School Facilities Commission. Basically, we all know we have a backlog for school construction in our county. We do have a state commission that is looking at that, not just for Prince George's County, but for the entire state. We will start making recommendations to the General Assembly within the next week or so. So that report will be coming out as well. Also, Senate Bill 493 that looks at teacher induction, retention, recruitment. We're going to make recommendations to them around that as well. One of the provisions in this bill is for newly first-year teachers, districts, they can apply for a grant and they can develop ways so that new teachers get a 20% reduction in actual teaching time. So that then they would have time to either work with their mentor, to work with their coach, to go watch another teacher do a lesson study. So again, we are really working really hard in our state to ensure that we keep the teachers that are coming in because we don't want to lose them. And so from the state, that's some of the work that we're doing. And I know last month I thank you all, but those of you that were at the RA, thank you again for electing me to the MSCA board. Reason I elected me to the MSCA board of directors. I want you to know that we have definitely been working hard. In addition, I'm gonna let your president talk about that. So, those are the things going on with us from the state level. And so as the president did mention to you that I am running for the NEA Board of Directors position for Maryland. And I'm not gonna give you a long speech because a lot of you know me. But what I will say is that I know sometimes people wonder, well, Rowena, what are you doing? As a member of PGCEA and as a member of MSCA, I've been on Capitol Hill lobbying. I was a teacher representative speaking to different members of Congress 2 years ago about professional development and the difference between professional development, professional learning, and training. Sometimes we have 8 hours of training with 20 objectives and things they expect us to do, which is unrealistic. So lobbying Congress behind things like that, education policy around that. When NEA did Teacher Leadership Initiative, I was one of the participants for that. NEA had an alumni academy. I was one of the participants for that. What does that mean? Helping to shape the policy for NEA as it relates to institutional racism, as it relates to new educators, and as it relates to organizing our local affiliates. So a lot of the work that goes on education policy on a national level, I've been doing that work for a while now. Excuse me. Also working with our state affiliate as instructional professional development co-chair. I've been doing that for 3 years now as well. So a lot of the work that comes around policy and how it directly impacts our classroom, I've definitely been doing a lot of that groundwork. And so I'm asking for your support to continue that work on a national level because we do need to make sure we have representation from all facets of our membership. And I just want to ensure that every voice is heard. So if you have any questions for me, let me know and I will answer them for you.
Microphone 2.
I move that the Prince George's County Educators Association endorse Teresa Dudley and Rowena Shern for NEA directors.
I have a second. Michelle Clark, Board of Directors, I second that motion.
Okay, you have heard the candidates. Without objection, I put the vote before you. All in favor of supporting Teresa Dudley and Rowena Shern, please hold up your voting cards. All opposed? Thank you very much. It's so important that you understand that there are 2 seats. One is to fill a vacancy that was held by Paul Levy from Hartford County. That's the one that I'm running for. And then Rowena's running for the full 3-year seat. Yes.
Forgive me from being ahead to get up, but Madam President, without objection, can we record that vote as unanimous?
I didn't call for any objections. Were there any objections? No. Objection?
Okay.
Okay, there's an objection to recording unanimously. Okay? All right. So, treasurer's report.
So good evening, everyone. I'm going to do the treasurer's report. You have a copy of it, so not to be redundant, I'm just gonna highlight. The auditors have completed the preliminary planning phase of PGCEA's annual audit. The field work will be completed in January 2017, and an audit report will follow upon its completion. The financial statement for June 2016 will soon be available. I believe it'll be posted online, if not already, on the members only section of PGCEA website. Here's some highlights. At the conclusion of June 2016, PGCEA had reached a point of 83.3% of the way through the fiscal year, which ends on August 31st of 2016. Therefore, we will generally expect that PGCEA will have earned at least 83.3% of budgeted income and would have reported 83.3% budget expense at this point in time. PGCEA has earned 92.31% of budget income as of June 30th, 2016, which is above the target of 83.3%. At this point in the fiscal year, actual income received from membership dues, so from our dues fiscal year 15-16, were substantially higher than budgeted, which is a major contributing factor to our higher than expected income. Actual expenses for all departments are below the target of 83.3% of budget as of June 30th, 2016 as follows, and I've laid it out for you. As a result of income being higher than expected and expenses being lower than expected at this point in the fiscal year, PGCEA is showing a net income of $356,830.97 as of June 30, 2016. This indicates PGCEA has received this much more in income than it has reported in expenses. This is actually a decrease in the net income shown as of May 31st, 2016, resulting from the fact that more expenses were paid than income received in June 2016. A major contributor to the larger expense amount in June was the payment of NEA convention. We paid for the NEA convention of 80% delegate stipend. So when we send a delegate, that's what we're paying for, which totaled $74,800. Overall, PGCEA is in an excellent financial position of this statement. If you have questions, my email is tawanarlane@gmail.com, and you can also please always email the accountant with emailing me at millers@pgcea.org. Madam President, may I go ahead and give the future teachers report?
You may.
I'm not going to read the report to you. I just want to say thank you to those who came out, and I highlight the second half. Everyone should have a copy. It is the committee, we have decided that we will give out the report, so that's why you always get a report just in case I'm not here. And it's a financial responsibility of whoever is the treasurer to make sure that you always have a report. So you will always get a written report from this point on. The highlighted part of the Education for Future Teachers report that I want to give you is attention, non-classroom educators. We did an event on the 7th, Future Teachers soon to be hopefully changed, but we did an event on November 7th where we had like sounding boards to talk about the 3 frames of union. We are reaching out to, right now we would like to reach out to the non-classroom educators, so our ILTs, our school counselors, our teacher personnel workers, those who work with central office that are Unit 1 members, school psychologists, instructional lead, homeschool educators alike. If you are an educator who is not a teacher of record and have been an employee of Prince George's County Public School System for 10 years or less, we'd like to hear from you. If you are willing to talk to members of this committee, please reach out to the committee chair, which is myself, or our staff person, Vanessa Bliss, with your contact in the subject line, in your subject line when you email us, right out of the classroom, so that way it's easier, because as your treasurer, you can imagine I get emails from ECLF as a coach, PGCEA, MSCA resolutions, MSCA chair, NEA, so I need the subject line to say out of the classroom, so I know which one I'm looking at and I can put it in the right order. But we're really looking to hear from our non-classroom based educators. We hear a lot from teachers, but we want to hear from those who are seniors or less. Further questions, just email me. Please tell members in your building to email me. I'm here as available. Thank you.
Thank you, Tawanda.
Minority Affairs, Annette Jones, you want to give an update on the Martin Luther King essay contest?
Good evening again, everyone.
Can you talk right into the mic, we can't hear you. It's on.
Okay, so, our competition, the arts and essay competition is in full force. Our closing date, I think, is December 30th. So if you have not sent access students sending their entry forms or their essay or their art paper, they can do so now until December 30th. That's the final day where we will be selecting the winners, and the presentation will be January 15th at Kingsford Elementary at 7 p.m. And each winner will receive a purse of $100. So we encourage you to always support us. So we ask you to support, encourage your students to send in their entries, and they will be just rewarded. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sarah Leo? Government Relations Chair?
Good evening, everyone. There's a couple updates for the Government Relations Committee. The first and foremost is that we have a legislative breakfast on January 7th. We have local and state legislators coming to meet with PGCEA and 2250 to talk about some issues that we have, such as ESSA, time to learn, time to teach. And we need some volunteers to help with the breakfast, especially to be one of our speakers to speak with legislators and let them know where we stand on issues. So we definitely need as many people as possible. There will be a training on January 4th at 4:30 so that you'll know what to say and you'll have a list of things that you can say. And of course, add your own personal touch, because it's best to hear it from the teachers themselves instead of somebody else speaking for us. Also, for that same legislative breakfast, we would like to have pictures of staff members and 2250 members for a slideshow that will be presented. Not just, the kids, we don't want the students because you can't show their faces, so staff members, they can be custodians, teachers, bus drivers, everybody that's involved in this building. You can send those pictures to me at s.lale2525@gmail.com, and that will be a slideshow, and make sure there's no student faces again. Yes, s.lail, L-A-I-L, 2525 at Gmail. We have, a lot of people have been speaking to me about what can we do to make changes, what kind of, what's our next move. A lot of people are frustrated about things that are going on in the county. As the board members, President Dudley, us as teachers, we're frustrated. There's one thing we can do, we can show up for board meetings. The next very important board meeting is December 15th, when the CEO will present his budget, for the 2018 school year. And the big question is, are we going to get the crumbs, or are we going to get the chunk of the change that we need? So it's very important for us to show up December 15th. Now, we need to show up in force, we need to show up in numbers. Not everybody can make all board meetings. So if we can get a cadre of people going every board meeting and keep showing up and then stepping up and speaking, I think it's time for us to show our faces and not just have the president of the union or a board member or somebody that knows a board member to speak to them. I think it's time for us to show up. They're not going to get it unless we're there. They're not going to understand unless we really start stepping forward and say something. The next one, December 15th, is very important because this 2% that we're getting, I'm sure exactly. Because we're all feeling it. We're not going to say it out loud. We all know how we feel. But in order for us to get somewhere better, we need to be there. We need to be present in the beginning of the budget, not at the end when you say, oh, what's left for us? So that's one thing that we need to make sure that we're there for. So that's December 15th, the board meeting. Don't quote me, 6 o'clock. I was going to say 5 o'clock. 6 o'clock. And it's not just December 15th. It's other board meetings. Right. We need to make sure that we're there. That if you go on the website, you can sign up and register to speak at these meetings and speak from the heart. That's the most important thing. But what is the one thing we teach our kids? Passion. So So we have to be able to be there and be passionate about what's going on. Otherwise, they're gonna keep making these decisions that affect us, and all we wanna do is walk out and give them the bird. And we're not even stepping up and saying something from the beginning. So I think it's important that we get out there. And I just gave you my email, so if you wanna contact me, s.rail.
I just asked you, wait, I'm sorry.
What's up?
Is that right?
Okay, yes, my doctor about it, email. Yeah, so you can contact me. We are still in the works of trying to get this action network up and running so that we can just email you with your personal emails, not PGCEA emails, so we can start getting people there. Because it's not going to change unless we're a part of that change. And I'm saying that from somebody who hates politics and is fed up and tired. And I know that I have to, be there. So that's one thing. There's two things that are coming up, issues that the Government Relations Committee is going to start looking at. And one of them is that the PGCPS governance is up for renewal next year for the General Assembly. So talking about the appointed board members versus the elected board members. So you can start listening for that, and that's going to start coming up, and we're going to talk about what changes we want to put forth to the county on how we want to be represented in the democracy that is either not happening or happening with appointed board members. Also, the Prince George's County representation for Maryland Senate, Ulysses Curie, has resigned. So his 25th district seat is open. As of right now, there are 3 possible candidates that I know of at this moment. Delegate Angela Angel, Delegate Darrell Barnes, and Melanie Griffin. So
And Senator Curry's wife.
And Senator Curry's wife, okay? We will be going through the same process we went through with the Board of Education members. When we go to committee, decide who we want to step forward and bring it to the body after the Board of Directors has decided as well. So look forward to that for the 25th district. Now, my first question, and it just dawned on me earlier today, well, if we have 2 delegates that are vying for this seat, and one of them gets that seat, then that means we also going to have a House of Delegates seat open, and that's going to leave another vacant seat. So that's something that was obviously the domino effect of filling that seat with delegates. But that's our government relations update. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I just want to add that the process for the selection of the senator to replace Senator Curry is that the Democratic Central Committee, because he was a Democrat in the county, puts out a press release to everyone, letting them know that there is a vacancy, and then names are submitted. People come to the Democratic Central Committee and they submit the names to whoever they decide to the governor for appointment. Because it was a democratically held seat, another Democrat will be appointed. I am also serving on the Democratic Central Committee representing 47th District. So it's really important that Prince George's County Educators Association looks at these candidates very carefully so that we can have some influence in the decision-making process. Last year, both the candidates that we supported were appointed to Carlos Sanchez and Susie Proctor. So we do have a little bit of weigh-in on this. So it is my understanding that we're going to be talking to the candidates, perhaps convening the endorsement committee so that we can bring them in and have a conversation with them. We may or may not weigh in. There really isn't anything that makes us have to weigh in. I have heard wind that Senator Miller would like for the wife to assume the position. And I didn't know we lived in a kingdom. So we have to look at all the different things and see how this is all going to work out. The endorsement committee will work on that. The other piece is that the legislation, I want to say the Maryland Code 03, I want to say 2003, which was, it came out as House Bill 1107. There are 3 different pieces of legislation that are looking at that as to whether or not they want to go back to an elected board, that process, and and because there's so many different pieces of legislation out there, Sarah, what's the exact date of the hearing?
For which one? For this one? They have to have it by December 31st of next year.
No. The hearing for the Prince George's County legislation that they're having at the Sports and Learning Center. Well, the bills will be introduced. Jamal, do you know what the date is? I want to say that it is next week, and something's telling me it's December the 6th. But I will try to find that out while Cheryl is going through her report, okay? Because that's where all of the pieces of legislation that have been drafted that affect Prince George's County, by law, local bills have to have a hearing in the county. So the Prince George's County delegation will present your bills for this coming session at that meeting. And it is at that point that we will know exactly what they're talking about. And I just want to put one bug in your ear. One of the things that really concerns me as the president, because we have 4 new school board members that have just gotten elected, they're all young mavericks, great young people. My concern is, in the appointment process, there's no vetting. In the election process, there's no vetting. In my humble opinion, there should be some kind of commission or something that looks at people's qualifications to run for school board, to be on the school board. And I haven't seen that in any of the legislation yet, but it would be a great amendment to add something like that. And I think we need to start thinking about that, because we have student members of the board, but we're prohibited from running as educators. If there was a commission that was set up, then we could have more influence into the people that are being selected, being from an educational background. So just a thought, you know, just sharing something.
Madam President.
Question?
Vanilla Crutchfield, the date, I had it on my phone because I was trying to attend.
Thank you, ma'am.
It's the 6th, from 6 to 7.
Okay, it's the 6th, so it's at the Prince George's, thank you so much.
Prince George's County.
Sorry, PR person on the move there, thank you very much. So December the 6th, that's a Monday. It'll be from 6 to 7 p.m. And what they'll have, is it Tuesday? Right, the 5th is Monday?
It's a Monday.
Okay. Is it Monday or Tuesday? Tuesday is the 6th. Monday is the 5th. You guys work it out. I know it's at the Sports and Learning Center in the town hall room.
On the website.
It's the 5th.
So it's Monday the 5th?
Yep.
Okay, all right, that's fine, Monday the 5th, and they'll have all of the laws, all the proposed laws that are gonna affect specifically Prince George's County on the table. You can walk in, pick them up, and learn about it. So December the 6th.
Yeah.
Can I say? Okay, where was I? Minority Affairs. Yvonne Basich. You want to talk about the 17th?
So, you have already heard several times.
Is your microphone on?
No.
Is it a fire
Okay, you have heard several times about the event that we will be having at the NEA building in Washington DC, something that our president has been able to set up. They are also going to be paying for food, and I'm assuming they will also give us chairs to sit on. You will soon be getting information about it by email. You will all be invited, this entire body. All of the representatives will be invited. Also, our committee members, our committee chairs will be invited. So this is going to be a large group. So this is a very important meeting. We hope that all of you will be able to attend. We will be talking about time to teach, time to learn, and other things having to do with our organization. The fact that the NEA wants to sponsor this and wants to invite us to their building is a big deal, I believe. I don't think they do it for everybody. And we are an important local, and believe it or not, we get a lot of guff, but the rest of the country and locals that look like us a little bit even, look to us for answers. And we are the ones who should be able to say, this is how we do things, and it actually works.
Thank you. It is a real important day. We're going to talk about who are we, what do we do as an association. We're going to have updates on ESSA in Maryland and ESSA National. We're going to talk about how we are going to position ourselves as the catalyst for educational reform in Prince George's County, which is the vision of the association that we adopted last year. So please keep your calendars free for the 17th and plan on being down there. One of the things that I'm waiting for a word back on is how about parking downtown. What I'm asking you to do is, we are waiting to hear, the lady from NEA was checking into the parking, and she was supposed to get back to me today to see if there was a parking garage that we could sort of commandeer for the day. What I'm feeling is that we're probably gonna need to metro it in. And if we do ask you to take the metro, we just ask you to get a receipt and we will reimburse you for whatever it costs you to take the train down there. Okay? Because there's no parking at the metro facilities on the weekend. I mean, you don't have to pay for parking.
Yeah, they don't get paid for parking.
There is.
Yeah, and if I did buy paper cards, I would have to buy, I understand I couldn't buy them, but I would have to buy you a Metro card, and I have to pay $5 more per person times 200 people, which is a lot of money. Okay, so when I say the association. Okay, Virginia McLaughlin, NECC, report on the negotiated agreement vote. Okay. You want to do it at the same time as, okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Okay, never mind. The issue was that the negotiated agreement vote went out today. Did everybody get it? Yeah. Okay. What I would appreciate, and what Linda Shackle couldn't be here this evening, but Virginia was supposed to share with you the dates that it was going to be open for you to vote. That's what I thought you were going to get up there and talk about. But anyway, it's okay. The dates are from today until December the 9th. So, push the button. I think the batteries are starting. We gotta make sure.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
And we also want to encourage everybody to make sure, check in your buildings and make sure people are voting. You know, just when you see someone, hey, did you vote yet? If not, get them to go and do it.
All right, so we can get that ratified by December the 9th. We can move on to the interest-based bargaining portion. And at our January meeting, the candidates will be announced? Yes. Okay. All right. Thank you. The candidates for board of directors and treasurer will be announced. Marguerite, woo woo woo. I saw her. Had a new hairdo. Look at all these people. Oh, that PGCEA where you got on there today.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Yes, that's always good. Okay, now it's time for something to boost us, give us a little energy, energize us with our second annual Black and White Holiday Party. I'm sure you guys have picked up the flyer. You can bring cash at the door or a check. Cash or check for your $10 donation for PGCEA Foundation. Spread it around to your members. Also, we want to have a Forever Fit activity in February. Now our dates have changed, so it's going to look like it's going to be in February. Okay? And this is for families of educators so we can get fit. As we getting older, I shouldn't say older, as we get a little more seasoned, and we getting younger, as years go by, we getting younger and younger, so these are some activities, Forever Fit, or some activities where we engage in a lot of exercise and some fun and some food tasting. And that's going to be in February. Stay tuned for the dates. We have to make sure we get everything together for that.
Okay, Zena, where'd she go? Zena and Sunil? Where's Zena? You want to tell everybody about the meet and greet we did for Bladensburg?
Greetings everyone. We held a time to teach meet and greet at Fratelli's for Bladensburg High School.
Come up here, Zena. No one's right. Can you hand that to Carl for me, please? I can see the gentleman in the back. So put it up like that.
Hello? All right. Greetings, everyone. We held a time to teach, time to learn. Just let me teach meet and greet for the staff at Bladensburg High School. Not all schools have a working FAC or working rep council in the building. So they wanted to, there was like a crisis, and they wanted to meet with PGCEA, and President Dudley agreed to meet with the staff to kind of help them get organized, help them try to solve some of the issues they were having, and to leave there with some solutions. And the importance of having an FAC and building reps in your building and the purpose they serve. Overall, over maybe 27 faculty showed up, and they really had a one-on-one concerns about their issues that they've been having over the years. And the most positive thing that came out of the evening was where do they go from there, and how they can organize, and who will be FAC, who would be building reps. So hopefully, because of that meeting where they were able to share freely and to have candid conversations about their concerns, and I thought that it was very successful, and hopefully we can kind of reach out to other schools that are having the same problems so that we can really let them know what their responsibilities are as teachers and to know what their rights are. But the first thing they have to do is organize. You have to have an FAC, a working FAC in your building, and you have to have building reps. A school of that size can have 5 building reps and 5 alternatives, but some of the times a lot of schools don't know this information. So we're just trying to figure out how do we get that information into the schools, and how can we empower teachers to empower themselves so that they won't be taken advantage of, and actually just to inform them so they can know what they are able to do, what they cannot do. But overall, it was a success. So I feel like that's something that we should continue, because I mean, that's a high school, so you can only imagine what else is going around the county. And it was a very open atmosphere where there's no threats. You can be comfortable to just talk, and actually President Dudley answered all questions and concerns. And She was the last one to leave. She didn't leave until every faculty member was satisfied with whatever issues they had that evening. So they were very appreciative of her taking that time out.
Thank you, Zena. And I want to thank Zena for, I had to do an interview on News Channel 8 on question D. And I called her and I said, what are you doing? She said, nothing. I'm trying to get my grades in. It was the day the grades were due. And she said, I'll be right over because I want my president to relax on the ride over. And I just want to thank you because that kind of love means a lot to me. And Diane Distance came in today and I was feeling a little blue and, you know, some stuff going on. And she brought me this little cling thing to put on my window of Wonder Woman. And you never know how much your little gesture of love means so much to somebody, especially when they're going through something you may not even know about. So I really do love y'all and I appreciate your efforts. Sheena Washington, special education, and I do have some pictures up here from your event.
Good evening, everyone. How's everybody doing? Good. Hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving break. So the Special Ed Committee, our next meeting officially will be December 20th. And I would just like to echo a little bit of what Sarah said earlier. Last year, our committee did some work around budget. We tried to do some work around talking points and showing up at board meetings. And we need to do that again. So December 8th, I would like to call a meeting for special educators and all educators, anyone in this room who is interested. I'll be sending out an invite. But December 8th, I would like for us to come here and organize, sit down and discuss talking points so that we can be ready to go and speak on December 15th. Last year, again, our committee did an excellent job and we already have talking points in terms of the budget. But for those of you who were aware of the budget process last year, the CEO will be presenting a budget. Last year, it was about a 365-page document, and the budget for special ed has not increased significantly in the last 3 or 4 years. So we have to go to those meetings and we have to speak to the impact of not having enough teachers, of not having enough academic supports
For our students, not having enough resources. We have to show up at these meetings. And we have to advocate. This mic went off, I don't know. But again, so I'll be sending out an email December 8th on Thursday. Hopefully we can come together and organize to get some talking points together. Our next official SPED meeting will be December 20th. I also, thank you.
I'm also a member of another local community group. I forget the official title of it, but it's a Prince George's County Parental Community Advocacy Group. And through the emails that they sent out, I've become aware that there is a link for an email that the CEO is asking for input for a budget that has been sent out to parents and community members. And I have a belief that as teachers, we are members of this community. However, we have not been made privy to this survey. So if anybody would like a link for the survey, there are a couple different questions that they're asking for input on: boundary or school facility, class size, compensation, community involvement, instructional issues, security, specialty programs, transportation, a lot of issues that I think that educators would be able to provide some really good comments on in terms of how the budget needs to address these issues. So if anybody would like a link, I have emails for all the special educators on our list, but if you would like a link specifically for this input form, please come see me at the end of the meeting. And again, I just would like to say that this is our organization as a union. our members have to be empowered enough to get up and speak, okay? The issues are important to us. The issues are important to our classrooms. We are in this work every day. We go into the schools, into the classrooms every day. And we need to be the ones who are advocating for the changes. And that's all I'll say. I just thank everyone for coming out to the meeting tonight. And if you have any questions about what you can say or should say, please plan on coming out on December 8th. You have 3 minutes for your talking points at the board meeting, and we will be here to help draft statements. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Sheena. I think it's really important that we stay on message as an association. So the December the 8th meeting will be important. But what I am going to ask is that we're mindful that if 500 teachers sign up to speak, it's going to be a very long meeting. So we just want to make sure that we are on point with what our message is for us as an association. And I appreciate the work that Sheena's doing. I was showing you the pictures from the meet and greet that we had that Sheena organized. I see you, Mr. Moore. Okay. All right. Robin McNair, Restorative Practices. Linda Mitchell, are you here? Okay, so we don't have to do that. So then we can get started on that.
Robin McNair, Board of Directors. I just want to say that on, I think it was November 17th, we had the workshop for providing safe schools for LGBTQ students, and that was a success. We had about maybe 41 people to attend, and the cutoff is 40, so we had a couple of walk-ins. And when the participants left, they actually wanted another part to it. So it's several modules, and they were asking for part 2. So it was definitely a success. So I will be sending out another link, another email with the invitation to the part 2 of the LGBTQ workshop, providing safe schools for your LGBTQ students, because they're here and they're in your class, and you have to support them and provide a safe environment for those students. I've been getting emails and inquiries for restorative practices trainings and presentations across Maryland, Hartford, Charles County, of course, Prince George's County. So we definitely are making strides in Prince George's County. So our name is out there. So get your calendars out because I have some professional development dates for you. Everyone has mentioned December 15th. Today we want to go and be supportive at the board meetings. And of course, I am asking for advocates to, I ask for members to advocate for funding for restorative practices, to bring that to our county. Those of you who have actually taken a training or are utilizing the practice in your classroom, you might want to speak on how it has helped your classroom or your school possibly. And that's December 15th, of course. January the 12th, we're going to have a trauma-informed workshop. Strategies you can use to support the trauma student in your classroom, because they're there too, and we have to teach them. And that's January the 12th. January the 19th, social justice workshop. January 24th, basic restorative practices workshop. For those of you who have no idea what restorative practices is, and you just like basic information, that is going to be January the 24th.
Thank you.
He's hired, right?
Yes, he is. February the 21st, Basic Restorative Practices Workshop. Yes, February the 21st. 21st. January the 24th. And February the 21st. For those of you who may not be able to make it in January. March 21st, Basic Restorative Practices. And March 23rd, Cultural Competency. So those are all the dates that the Restorative Practices Committee has agreed upon. And I definitely want to ask my committee to stand And we meet the first Thursdays of the month, and feel free to come in. And that's it.
Thank you, Robin. Robin, did you tell them about the event that we had where we had 24 people at? The restorative circus training?
Oh, yeah. You talking about the last training we had? Yeah. I think I spoke about that at the last meeting, didn't I? No. Oh. You want to say about it?
Tell me about it.
Basically, we had the schools that we plan to pilot restorative practices in. We had people who were going to serve as an implementation team at their schools to come in and actually do the training. They came and did the training, and it was amazing the transformation that took place because we had assistant principals there, we had security there, counselors there, and they came in, and you know those assistant principals, you know, but by the time the assistant principals left, they had changed. Their whole body language had changed by the end of the 4-day training. And they're in there ready to work with the kids instead of doing things to the kids. Stories were shared, commonalities were realized across the county. You never know what you have in common with those people that you work with every single day until you take time to build community with those people in your school. And that's what restorative practices does. It allows you to build community, and it allows you to know who you're working with, and even to know your students so you would know what they're dealing with so you can better meet their needs. So restorative practice is definitely something we need in our schools, but it has to be done correctly. Because if you go in and you try to do it just for suspension and expulsion, it's not going to work because students are going to look at the peacemaking circles as only when somebody's getting in trouble. But they want to see this circle time as a way for them to have a voice and to be able to express what they need to express. I have students coming to me daily. Are we going to do the Circle Friday? Because I got some things I need to get off my chest. And it's not about griping. It's about them really getting that heavy stuff off their heart and getting the support from their classmates. So I can stand here all day and talk about restorative practices. But it was an amazing training. So, yes.
Okay, all right. Just so you know, the restorative practices training, that 4-day training, was a joint collaborative effort between PGCEA and the school system. The school system gave everybody leave. PGCEA, 2250, so we have security people in here, principals, and we had all those people that came in that were able to come because Monica Golson gave everybody leave to come for 4 days. So 24 people times 4 days, that's an investment. And so, and we provided the trainers and the facility, and it has been really wonderful to work with people on that because a lot of associations don't have that ability to work with the management to make those types of things happen. We still got to push on the things that we want to push on, but the things that we're working together well on, that's a good thing. Now I want to move to, are you ready for yours? No? We can wait if you're not. Okay, Donna, tell them what you got there. I'm sorry. Donna Christie, Board of Directors, app person. You come right here. Okay.
All right, app update time. So I'm going to try to be careful about how I say this. It is published and you can download it for iPhones, Androids, and Kindles, but there's a big you can download it. It works great on my phone. That's because I built it. The registration process hasn't, there's still a glitch. And so right now it's in the hands of staff, and that's working on it hopefully to get it worked out so that it is connected to our membership database, because right now for some reason, and we haven't figured out why, you can download it, but then when you go to register, and I can go online and approve you as a member, but it's still not letting people be registered members. So that's the only glitch, but you can download it, it's PGCEA. You just won't be able to get on until we get that one glitch figured out.
It's very pretty.
Works great on my phone. Oh, and I do want to give a shout out to Linda Shackelford, because she has built a store, a PGCEA store for it. Prices are a little high, but that's because it kind of works like the same way your fundraisers do. 15% of anything purchased goes to the foundation, our scholarship fund. And so prices are a little elevated so that they can still make their money, the vendor can still make their money. But it's available on the app once the app works. You can just go right on the app, hit PGCEA store, and buy PGCEA stuff. And she's been going crazy as a fashion designer, doing a great job.
So take a look at it, download it, take a look at it, give her some feedback about it.
They can't get on it. It's as far as the registration page, and then right when Romeo's been trying.
Yeah.
And she can't get on.
Can't look at it?
I can't. Yours works? It's not working, so
Okay.
we just gotta get in that to finish it.
All right. I want to thank Donna because she has really been working on this since last spring. And, it's not an easy thing, this technology. Okay, so Cheryl McLeod, I want you to go ahead and do your update on the, now we had a meeting last week about the contract. How many of you were here for that? Most of you? Okay, so what she's gonna do is just touch on a couple of the things that have, the dates that have changed, that were errors on the paperwork that came back to us.
Hello, everybody. Okay. First of all, I want to thank you for those of you who were able to come out to the special meeting, because we know it was not the date of the regularly scheduled. And we appreciate for those of you who were not able to make it, we understand why. There is something about FY16 that stays in my head that is not correct. And somebody says because I want the current president to stay another year. But anyway, given that, there's information we had to make adjustments, because most of the information we had given out to you in the past talked about FY16, which was last year, not this year. So the information you received now is actually about this year, because that's what we're negotiating and voting on, and this is FY17. So as a result of that, we made some adjustment and some changes to information that was out previously. There were still a few glitches that we didn't catch until tonight. So if you look at the PowerPoint and look at slides 6 and 7, go back one. Okay, salary agreement, what you have in front of you is actually, this is a one-year agreement, FY17. So as you can see, it's been corrected on the PowerPoint. I just had to hand correct it on the document you just had. So again, 16 was in my mind. So this is about FY17. What we also did, go back again, I'm sorry. There were questions, based on questions we got from the open meeting session we had on Saturday and feedback since, there were questions about STEP. So what we added, what you didn't see in the old, the initial, is that there is no STEP increase this year. We added that so that people understood that, because some people were still not clear about STEP, so we added that. Okay, what else we've done? Now, Teresa, thank you. We had numerous questions about the impact of the January 2017 2% cost of living. And if you look at the document that you received tonight, that it's the 2-column report, there was one more 2017, 2016 that was on there that was a mistake. So this is correct. And we've added an explanation, hoping that this helps to clarify the impact of the what happens on July 1, 2017. So I just want to kind of review that to make sure that everybody kind of understands it here. The 2% COLA goes into effect January 2017. That means your paycheck will start to see a 2% increase. Your paycheck will start to see a 2% increase that will go until the end of the school year. It is not retroactive to July 1, 2016. If you recall, when we talked about the difference between a 1% COLA and a 2%, the team decided to go with the 2% cost of living effective January as opposed to a 1% cost of living that would have been retroactive, so that the impact is come July 1, 2017, your paycheck will reflect what's on that salary scale in terms of your base money. Before we negotiate any more money, you're going to have realized a full 2% cost of living. That obligates the superintendent and the Board of Education to already put that money in the budget request that's going before the council when it comes there. So that will automatically be done if this agreement is ratified. That's not even talking about what we will then negotiate for you in addition to that for FY8. So what this is an effort to try to explain it. One of the things I think is lessons learned. The next time we go through this, we're going to get a little focus group of members who don't know anything much about the negotiated agreement and ask them to look over what we're presenting out. Because it's your members who have asked those questions that has encouraged us to more thoroughly try to clarify what we mean. So I know what it is up here. You guys have a little bit more information based on our explanation, but our members don't have the definitely in terms of the dialogue back and forth for the Q&A. So we appreciate your members asking those questions of us because that says to us, let's see what we can do to better clarify. So hopefully that's what this does. Encourage your members to contact us. If there are questions, we're trying to turn around those answers as quickly as possible because the ratification is now in effect.
Okay. The one thing I just want to say that Cheryl missed a piece of this, and that is if we had gotten the 1% retro back to July, then when we start next year, we would only be 1%. You guys got that? Okay, I just want to make sure everybody gets it, because it took me a couple times to pick that one up. But when the slow one gets it, she got it. Okay? The other piece to it is the interest-based bargaining. And if you weren't here last week, the biggest issue that we have right now is working conditions. Money is an issue, but working conditions is another. And things like our evaluation system, things like our planning time, things like field trips, things like just stuff, SLO, just the stuff that's making us crazy. Administrators not having meetings with teachers before they're dumping kids back in our classroom who've been out on suspension, those sorts of things. So, I have an orange jumpsuit, thank you. But the issue is, how do we move forward and make our working conditions better? And this interest-based bargaining means that instead of us saying this is what we want and them saying no, this is what we're going to give you, and us going back and forth and back and forth, I'm a 7 Habits of Highly Effective People person. This allows us to sit down and be proactive, seek first to understand, then to be understood. They say what we say, what we want, they say what they want. We come to like minds on what it is we're going to work on and have some synergy, and we work out a win-win situation for everybody. It's right out of the book. So this is what we are trying to do with this contract, because if they can't give you money, they got to give you language, and they have no idea what Pandora's box they have opened with this, because we have to improve the working conditions for our members, because the working conditions that you are teaching in are the working conditions that our children are learning in. So, having said that, Cheryl, is there anything else you want to add?
No, I think you got it.
Okay. Microphone 1. I'm sorry, your name, sir. Can you step a little closer to the microphone?
Yeah, turn it on.
Is it on? Where's my MC at? I am officially appointing him as our parliamentarian, not parliamentarian, our sergeant at arms. Can I get an amen?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, thank you.
Okay. My name's Aldrich Brown. I'm a home and hospital teacher. My question is straightforward. What happened to the addition to the contract that home and teachers asked for regarding compensation for planning time, which we were getting in the past and we're not getting now?
I have an inquiry into the deputy superintendent about that issue. It was brought up that I'm waiting for feedback on that. And if you make sure that I have your contact information, as soon as I get the response, I will email it to you. I'm waiting, I'm trying to find out the information.
Okay.
I just don't know it right now. And as soon as I find out, I promise you, I will make sure that it came up last week. One of your compadres was here, and I put in an email inquiry about it, and I'm waiting to hear back on it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming tonight. Microphone 2. Stop looking at me so mean. I had a bad day.
You want to know what date was the meeting?
Which meeting?
For the interest space, you said there was going to be the training last meeting.
Until the contract is ratified, the negotiated agreement is ratified, we haven't set up the training. But we're going, as soon as we get this ratified, we're going to schedule the dates. Okay? Yes.
John Van Camp, Northwestern High School. I just wanted to know.
Come up to the mic, baby.
Okay. I kind of rudely
Say your name
shouted.
again for the record keeper.
John Van Camp, Northwestern High School. I kind of rudely shouted out something about teacher jail, but I wonder if that, I do feel like, and it's not just from one or two members, but I know many people have had trouble with just unfounded rumors being turned into a huge circus and people out of the classroom for months and months and months at a time. And if there's any, do you see any possibility of putting contract language that could really, provide extra guarantees for teachers, something like that? I know a lot of it is interpretation of the contract, but it seems like there could be something that could be put in the language that would help us out.
I think that there are some things that we can work around, but we are also limited by some of the constraints, the legal law, the laws of the state and federal labor laws. It was on our list because it's such a big issue. But I do, because you brought it up, I'm going to answer you, because I want to say two things. Number one, there are extreme changes happening in the Employee Labor Relations Office. As you know, our past executive is now working for the school system, and he is now the director of the Employee Labor Relations Office. I met with him, and he shared with me some of the changes that they're making in the office that will expedite a lot of this process that's going on. They have hired additional people, and they are working to move things as quickly as possible. Beyond that, a lot of it is not written in stone, changes, and I can't go into any further detail than that. But I feel confident and assured that we are going to see some tremendous changes. I am already seeing changes. I am already hearing people in buildings who are reporting back to me that things are happening a little bit differently, who have been placed on administrative leave. But I want you to share with your coworkers that this is something that is very, very traumatic for me to have to deal with, because I know what it feels like, and it's very scary. And you can ask the staff. I take phone calls from people at 11 o'clock at night, sometimes 6 o'clock in the morning, and just because people just need to talk to somebody. And it's okay, because there were crying times that I called different people, so this is a really trying time for us right now. And I'm just gonna ask you to keep doing your job, keep loving the children and doing what you do best, and that is educate these young minds. Now, I know it's like, yeah, well, you're saying all of that, but you know what? Our kids need us to stay strong through this. Some of these decisions have been made by the media as to how we're being treated. That first 8 minutes of the newscast is really powerful, and I will tell you, I've spoken to my counterparts in other jurisdictions, in Fairfax County, Montgomery County, Anne Arundel County, Howard County, Baltimore, all around us. They're having the same problems, but they're not watching them like they're watching us. Those very high-profile cases that we've had. So I know it's a tough situation. I'm asking you to be mindful of people. If there is a problem where someone is placed on leave in your building, please tell them to contact PGCEA before they submit a statement, so that someone can make sure and go over it, because sometimes people will write, I did not touch the child, and they will say, I touched the child. But you got to make sure that you proofread your stuff before you give it to them. That's all we're asking people to do. So, that's all I got to say about that. So, can I just finish the president's report? Are you done? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay. I just want to, and I want to give Cheryl McLeod a big hand. She walked into PGCEA and just took over as our chief negotiator when Lou left, and I want to thank you so much, Cheryl, for keeping me off the ceiling. Thank you very much. I just want to say a couple of quick things. There's the letter that I sent out to everybody on the back as part of my president's report. I will send you guys each an updated report. I typed it, but some stuff happened in my brain to mess me up today before this meeting was supposed to begin. And I will apologize for not having a written president's report for you, but I will send one out to every building rep along with the information about December the 17th. So I just want you to keep me in your prayers as the next couple of weeks go by. We are working on the new medical contract for the school system. We began looking at different carriers to see if they have the capacity to do what Prince George's County's public school system needs to do. I sit on the committee that is reviewing all of the medical plans that have responded to the request for proposals. And yes, it is that boring, okay? However, understand that the things that I'm hearing from you are in the conversation. The medical issues that you have been sharing with me, if there's some other medical issues with our medical plan that you need to let me know about, some of the issues concerning them using cheaper generics and not using because there's different levels of generics too, you know. You can get a cheap generic. I had one that made me sick. So we're looking at all of the medical plans now to see if they have the technical ability to finish our needs. Once we finish the technical review, which we should be done within the next month or so, a month or two, then we have interviews with all the medical providers, and they all come in and pitch to us why we should pick them. And then the school system does a financial evaluation to see how it all works out. So for this year, there will be no increase in our medical coverage rates. For 2017, there will be no increase in your medical premiums. Yay. Yay. Okay. That's what I was told. So if somebody's telling me a story, I will come back to you and we'll have another conversation. So that's consuming a lot of brain space. The other thing that we are working on is our search for a new executive director. We have started we had our first meeting last week where we reviewed the candidates, and the consultant came in along with some other people that are on the committee. And I want to thank the people who are on the committee, the search committee, for being so thoughtful about what we need and making sure that they really read the resumes and took the time and did due diligence, and I want to give them a hand for that. So next week, we'll actually have candidates coming in for interviews for 2 days. And we have some really good, solid candidates. So it is our hope that we should have an offer to someone and have maybe an executive director after the new year. So we are working on filling that position. One of the things that, where's that pretty girl go? Oh, she's in the back. You know what, just for saying that, you get to give me a break day this month, okay? You get to give me a break day because you are beautiful, okay? Marguerite, one of the things we do at the holiday party is collect hats and gloves and toys for kids. I bought mine last year off the clearance rack and put it in the closet, so I already got mine. But we do collect toys for the shelters. I believe it's Shepherd's Cove, which is a local Prince George's County shelter. So when you come to the party, please bring some hats, some gloves, or a scarf, or toys for children.
Yes. Greatly appreciated.
Yes. And the last thing I want to say is enjoy your family. One of our members was in a car accident today, and she's one of our reps. Hermina Kishida at Panorama Elementary School was involved in an accident this morning. And she's the hospital, when she was calling from the hospital, she called PGCEA from the hospital to let us know that she wasn't going to be able to come. And she said, that when she said she was going to be in hospital for a few days, the representative stated, oh yeah. And so I'm assuming this is very serious. I don't have any more details than that. But you never know. You got to stay and love the people that are around you. And you can call me a softie if you want to, but you just never know what's going to happen. So I probably won't see some of you until after Christmas. I'm going to see you on December the 15th, and then I'm going to see you on December the 17th. So I know I'm going to see you. But I just want to say, please enjoy your holiday, the Christmas holiday, and enjoy your break, and love each other. And that's my president's report. And now we can go to the fun stuff. Charles Burke with the bylaws, their change they want to make about. Did you have a question, dear? Microphone one.
Yes, my name is Brian Elton, I'm Friendly High School. I actually had a follow-up question on the other gentleman. With a lot of these investigations that have been found unfounded, I know they're taking 5 weeks, things like that. Is there, well, I know about one that's taking 5, one that's going on currently 3 weeks. Is there any, 3 months, is there any post actions that we can take when it's found to be that way, not just try and prevent it, but after it's done, the same way the county is quaking in their boots about children lawsuits, I would hope that they'd be quaking in their boots from teacher lawsuits behind unfounded allegations.
I will share with you.
Documents that you will need to look at. I'm going to then explain procedurally what's happening and why, and then we, I think, can move fairly quickly on any discussion. You first need the bylaw document that you got. It is annotated. All changes that are additions are in red, bold, and underlined, except maybe one, we'll get to it. But, and then you will notice there are strikeouts. The second document you will need, because I had some major formatting problems working from home with whatever, there was a second sheet sitting that's kind of alone, that's a front back,
that starts with a D and it says page 5 of 19. This is a correct document. The page 5 that you have in the packet is where I started having real problems. And so this is the correct, and we'll get to it shortly, but I just needed to explain what this is. It's the correct page 5, even though it's a front and back, because it needs to get all the language in without messing up the rest of the document. Finally is what will actually be the cover page. Probably the NECC will make those decisions. And it has all the rationales to it, and I will get to that shortly. Let me explain that the procedure that we have followed in some previous years is to give you a first reader, give you a month, and then make final decisions. For whatever reasons, and we won't get into all of those, it was delayed to this meeting. And in order for this document to be part of the ballot that members vote on, we must make that decision tonight. There is no December meeting, so it would require a completely separate election and a separate ballot if this body decides it does not want to make those decisions tonight. There are more changes proposed this year than have ever been proposed in the 20 years that I have been with this association. So I realize that presents a problem to this body to be able to look at all of those without having had it in advance. I know there are procedural problems, and you may choose that you must have more time. That's a decision you make as a body. But if we're going to have this on the ballot, we need to proceed tonight. I think we can. As I'm going to read to you in a moment from the rationale, there are really only 8 substantive changes that either change the language, that changes the way we do things, or add a new requirement. There are only 8 of those. So I think we could get through those tonight. So, if I may, this cover document, I usually don't like to read directly from a document, but this is our rationale. So I would like to read it since we're being taped, so that I say it correctly. So I'm reading the blue portion of this that succinctly explains why you are getting so many changes this year. The Bylaws Committee and the Nominations, Elections, and Credentials Commission are presenting the 2016-2017 proposed bylaw changes in a packaged format rather than as individual amendments. There are a significant number of recommended changes. We requested a review of the PGCEA bylaws by MSEA Legal Counsel, and the majority of the recommended changes reflect requirements of state of Maryland corporate law, MSEA NEA policy, and or the way we are presently conducting business locally. Here are 8 selected changes that the committee and the board of directors consider to be substantive, requiring additional rationale. I can go through this page by page. We can address the 8 changes and then vote, or we can vote on each of those 8 substantive changes. Madam Chair, I know I didn't ask you in advance, but how would you like to proceed?
You know how I want to proceed.
Yes, ma'am, but under the circumstances, how shall we proceed?
I have a concern about these documents being given to people today and asking them to make thoughtful decisions about it. And in the previous times when we had our elections around the same time, we had these as a first reader and then as a second reader. And then if there were any changes that anybody felt that they needed to make, it came at the second reading. And
I understand the timeliness of this. And from what I remember, that the ballot for the elections wasn't prepared for the elections until January, the middle of January. And the NECC would announce who they were putting on the ballot at the January meeting. So I just wanted the body to understand that having this done tonight is not something that we can really change, even though I would rather you have had more time to review the documents. So what I would ask you to do is to run through the 8 and, or give people a chance to look at them and see if they want to vote on them all together. I know there were some that were kind of controversial, so I think it would be better if you went through the 8.
Thank you. Our first one is from Article 3, membership. And again, pagination was one of my major issues in trying to prepare this, but it is the first page of text after the indexing. Or technically page 3. We have, out of necessity, had to add an explanation of what being a member in good standing means. And our rationale reads, in order to ensure that any member who is considered for elected office in the association, as well as other perquisites, is not in financial arrears to the association, the concept of good standing required definition and inclusion. You will find the term in good standing added throughout this document. But basically, the board of directors and the people who brought this to the attention of the committee felt that a person should not be able to receive funds to attend functions such as the NEA convention if they owe money, and that they should not be able, should they owe money from a previous convention that they failed to attend, for instance, they shouldn't be able to run for election again until they have paid the association back monies owed. Moving on to Article 4 on the next page. And here we go with that problem page.
Point of clarity. Sorry, point of clarity. Are we doing each separately? Did we decide on which option we were doing? Just being beautifully approved. Are we going straight through, or are we going line by line? That was what was asked.
Why don't we just do the articles, do each article?
Excellent.
Okay.
Motion to approve the first change, Article, what is that, Article 3?
Okay.
Lord Denise, Susan High School, second.
Your name, darling.
Marvin Burton, Susan High School.
Okay, hearing no objections, I'll put this before you. Shall the changes from Article 3 be placed on the ballot in March? All in favor, raise your voting cards. All opposed? Thank you. Article 5, officers. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. There are 3 items, and again, this is the page I messed up. So the extra handout is the correct one that we're going to be looking at. And you'll see that in a minute there are some changes that aren't in the original document. It actually says page 5 at the bottom of the document, and the one in the packet doesn't. Right. All right. The first proposal is simply from Maryland state law, and I have it if anyone wants to read it. But we are required as a corporation to have 3 officers. a president, a treasurer, and a secretary. Our document actually addresses it and identifies that the executive director is the secretary of the corporation. But legal counsel believed that we needed the wording here as well. So for the first proposed change, we are simply adding a secretary to our list of officers. I think the chair would entertain a motion to approve or not.
Is that all for Article 4?
No, ma'am, that's the first of three.
Okay. Let's go through the entire.
I think you want to do each one separately.
Okay?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Ooh.
You have a point of
And I was
information?
working on the computer, I didn't see where it started. Points of information,
Robin probably first.
Robin
McNair, Board of Directors. Charles, you said that it was stated that the executive director would serve as the secretary?
It has been that way for the last 30 or 40 years, correct.
Where is that written?
In the bylaws under the executive director.
Article 5. Okay.
Thank you.
So my question was, since it's there, do we not need to have Section 3 election in terms of office to include secretary here? Because it's written there.
Legal counsel believed it had to go here as well.
Right, so what I'm saying is, Section 3 of Article 4, it says the election of president, vice president, and treasurer shall be through open nomination. So are you saying that secretary doesn't need to be there at all? Because
That is correct, because we do not elect the secretary, and that is not a requirement.
Okay.
You just have to have one.
Okay.
Many corporations just appoint all three.
point of information, microphone 2.
On the next one.
Okay, anybody have a comment about this first part? Amanda.
Amanda Menzel, under Article 4, Section 2, when it says the qualification, in order for a member to be an officer, they must be in good standing. Something needs to be changed there if the executive director is going to be an officer.
I don't see why we wouldn't want the executive director not to owe us money, but I see your point. It was not recommended as a change by legal counsel. She believed that this one insertion allows us to meet Comar.
So then I'm making the motion to accept Article 4.
Section 1 and Section 1.
Second.
Do I have a second?
Marvin Burton, second.
Putting the vote before you. Hearing no objection, all in favor of accepting placing officers, sections 1 and 2 on the ballot, raise your voting cards. All opposed? Okay, motion carries. Section 3.
Section 4.
No, but you said Article 4, Section 3.
I'm seeing Article 4, Section 4. President. This is from the rationale piece. There are other changes, they're just
Oh, I'm sorry.
semantic.
Okay.
Article 4, Section 4, President, the first recommended change is to item A. It would add, with restricted voting rights limited to breaking ties. And this is the rationale that I have revised, but it basically covers the rationale presented by the maker of this amendment. It has been proposed that allowing the president to vote to create a tie, provides inordinate power in this officer position. It was also argued that it would allow meetings to move more quickly. I believe we have a point of information
Point of
on
information, microphone 2.
Yes, so this is a question to Charles, through the president, of course. Charles, what are Robert's rules regarding this specific issue about the president voting on a board of directors issue? Charles?
Robert's Rules addresses this in two places, but I'm going to read to you from pages 405 and 406 under the heading tie votes and cases in which the chair's vote affects the results. If the presiding officer is a member of the assembly, he can vote as any other member when the vote is by ballot. In all other cases, the presiding officer, if a member of the assembly, can, but is not obliged to vote whenever his vote will affect the result. That is, he can vote either to break or to cause a tie. And then it goes on. But that is what Robert's Rules allows a president to do.
Okay, so I want to make sure that I have this straight. According to Robert's Rules, the presiding officer can either vote on one side or the other side of an issue, or the president can wait, and if a tie comes out, the president can then vote to break the tie. The president can't vote twice. The president can only vote once, either on one or the other side of the issue, or to break a tie on the same issue.
Your interpretation is correct, and what I failed to add is that in the event of a tie, the item fails.
So the question is, we have been operating all of these years under Robert's Rules, and the president, being a member of the organization,
And of the board of directors.
and the board of directors, has been able to vote according to their conscience. That is, the president's rights, democratic rights as a member of the assembly and of the board of directors is not limited. His or her rights are not limited. That's the way we have been operating up until now. So the question is, why are we now limiting the democratic rights of the presiding officer?
That is correct.
That's my question.
I am not the maker of the motion, so I can only restate that the person or persons who proposed this felt that it provides inordinate power in the presidency, and they felt that it created some stagnation isn't the word, but a lengthier meeting.
It's only one vote. The president doesn't have inordinate power. The president has one vote.
Okay, well, at this point, excuse me, I can chair the meeting, thank you. I think that you're going into debate and spaces. Point of information, microphone one.
Quick question. For this section, are we voting on these letter by letter or as an entire block? That's my first question.
Voting on the two items that were pulled out as substantive on the list.
What are, so, yeah, I have it, but my question again is, are we voting on them individually or as a block?
Individually.
Okay.
That was what I asked the chair to do.
I don't feel that that question was answered. The reality of the situation is that there have been votes that the president has taken, and if the maker of this bylaw amendment would like to address that, I'm more than happy to allow her to do so. Donna Christie? Oh. Well, is the person who made it here?
Yes.
Okay, so. Okay, there hasn't been a motion made yet. There was a question asked about why this is happening, and there was a vote that was taken that was very contentious, and the president voted to make a tie, which meant that the motion failed. And so this evolved from that to try to change that. And you can think what you want to think about it. I'm just sharing with you what happened. So, I'm gonna leave it at that.
Is there debate? I think we have another point.
You have a point of information?
Yeah, but point of information. What was MSEA Council's take on what we should do on this?
She had no opinion.
Okay. In that case, I make the motion not to accept this final amendment to be sent on to the members.
Second.
Okay, the motion has been made not to accept this. Do you have a point of information?
Oh, it's unready. Do I have the wrong card?
Sorry.
It's unready.
You're what?
Since the motion is on the floor, it's unready.
It's what?
If you have a point of information, you may go ahead.
Great. So in that case, that example, that was just.
You can't hear you.
I'm sorry. Oh, I didn't turn it on. Okay, can y'all hear me? Great. In that example that was just given, that, and it might be just me, but in that example that was just given, that is a dual vote. So that means that the president can vote on an issue, and if that issue comes into a tie, then the president can break that tie.
Please allow me.
Okay, let me, go ahead.
Please allow me. It is a single vote, but it is an option. So there are at least two options, but there's three options the president has at least. They may choose not to enter in the voting on an issue. They may choose to vote as part of the board of directors or the representative council, and in the case that creates a vote, if a simple majority is required, then according to Robert's rules, a tie means that it does not pass. Or if the body, let's say the board of directors, 8 members are voting, 4 vote yes, 4 vote no, then the president then, if they did not vote yet, has the prerogative of breaking a tie. This would limit the president to only that option.
Right, so in your the one that you just, before you got to
The president has the right as a member of the body to actually vote to create a tie.
Right.
Is a single vote.
So deadening the vote, not for, so voting for the tie, like the voting for the tie, and it ties up, that still is a vote. So that means if it's still voting down. So if the president is
correct.
Exactly.
But I don't, but it is not voting twice.
In actuality.
In most cases, the president does not vote. In most cases, the president does. In here, when there's votes, I don't vote. Unless, the only time I would vote is if it would become a tie in here, in the boardroom. Most of the time, I don't vote. However, when it's something that's really important and it looks like it could be a tie, right? If I don't vote and it fails because I didn't, or it passes, or it fails because I didn't vote on it, the issue becomes, do I exercise my role as president? If I think something is for the benefit of the association, then I can vote, if it's like, let's say it's 3-4, and I haven't voted yet, because there's 10 people in the room. If it's 3-4, and I haven't voted yet, then the president can say, well, I'm going to vote so that it's a tie. And then whatever it is defeated because it's now a tie. And that has historically been a prerogative of the president. Okay, so the motion has been made and seconded not to approve.
Right.
Donna Christie, you want to speak in opposition?
We'll call this item A.
So I want to speak in opposition, not so much because I feel that the president's voting rights should be limited, because I actually think that we should stick with Robert's rules. But I do want to make the point that the president, and when they're chairing a meeting, is supposed to remain impartial so that in a democratic society, all members of that society can feel welcomed and heard by an impartial person. When a president enters into debate and takes votes on a regular basis, it's letting them know that they're not impartial, that they have a position, and therefore all members of the society do not feel as comfortable presenting their point of view and being an open member of the society.
Rowena Shern?
All right, Rowena Shern, peer assistant to consulting teacher. I have mixed feelings about this, but I think the greater issue for me is limiting someone's ability to speak. As a dues-paying member of this association, the last thing I want to do is tell someone that they don't have a right to speak. I understand the intent. As a board member, trust me, I get it. But as a member, and at the end of the day, as a member that is paying dues, I don't agree with the idea of not allowing a member to voice their belief, their opinion, their thoughts. And that's why I stand in support of opposition to this, because I don't want to silence anyone. The last thing that I want to do is to silence anyone as a person. And so I ask that we don't support this amendment because I don't want to silence anyone.
Microphone 2.
You skipped me getting to speak to it originally. But that's okay.
I was just going back.
I know. But speaking to the motion, the reason, as I recollect from what the legal counsel said, it was that as a dues-paying member, it should be one member, one vote, under any circumstances. And the bottom line is, our president pays dues same as anybody else. And as such, she has a right to a vote. There have been some contentious times, but that's okay, because that's part of a democratic society too. And taking away her right to speak or to vote is not fair to anyone, because everybody else has that option. And I agree with Rowena on that, absolutely. I understand the intent of it, but the reality is she's one person, she gets one vote, and she is a member.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
your parliamentarian would point out you've had 3 in favor and there seem to be no opposed.
I have 3 in favor, and my parliamentarian tells me that there was 1 opposition. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak in opposition? Hearing that, without hearing any objections,
Speaking in opposition. Not to belabor it. Speaking in opposition, I'm not going to belabor it because a lot was said already. But I just want to point out, this is not an issue that just the current president, we've had past presidents who did not take a vote, who stand in and said, I will only breaking the tie. So I just want the body to recognize, we've had past presidents that stood. This president speaks when she felt, as she said, she suggests she stated, and leaving it there. We've had past presidents that honor that at this, and so that's why I'm speaking in opposition. And I feel that this should pass and put order in our board meetings.
okay, I've heard 3 in favor, 2 opposed. If there are no other cards, I'll put it before you to close debate. I'm hearing no objections. All of you in favor of the, I'm sorry? The motion was not to approve the bylaw change.
Article 4, officers, section 4, president, item A.
And that was on
Page 5.
page 5.
Corrected, page 5.
Correct, page 5. All of you in favor of opposition, in favor of the motion to oppose adding this to the ballot for March, please vote, please raise your voting cards. All in favor, please raise your voting cards. What did I say? All opposed. Well, it's in favor, opposed. I always get confused.
The item will not be on the ballot.
Okay, next.
Continuing on this page to item C.
Public information.
Point of information.
I know we voted on this, but this is why I'm having an issue with us trying to move fast on this one day we just got this. But the question of Article 4, officers, I know we voted, so I may not be able to ask this question. However, in this it's stating that we now have a secretary that's an officer, but in order to be an officer, you have to be a member of the association for a minimum of 3 years, 3 consecutive preceding the election, in good standing. The member shall be a tenured professional on a continuing contract with the Board of Education and the PGCEA bargaining unit. But if you're a executive director, then you may not have been a member, you're not a member, you're an employee. Okay. So I think the verbiage, I think we should take secretary out of that section. It's already stated that we have a secretary. I don't know why we added it. It's already stated, if you look at the executive director, it says that that person is the secretary. Therefore, we don't need to add it to officers because they're not an officer.
Well, I believe, I can't speak for her, but I believe that it says that she would argue in order for a member to be an officer. The secretary is not a member. Okay. So the secretary would not fall under these qualifications.
But the secretary, you put secretary under officers.
But it says in order for a member to be one of those officers.
Can I address that? The issue Amanda, is that, what did I say? I'm sorry.
It doesn't matter, go ahead.
Sarah, the issue is that the way that our association is structured, the executive director, who is appointed by the board of directors, holds the title of executive director and secretary. So in essence, he still needs to be in good standing with the association, and that's why it was put in there about the good standing.
About the member though, they're not a member.
I
It's
understand.
verbiage and it's being contrite, but I'm just saying, if we're gonna be, if this is supposed to be legalese, putting secretary under officer is misplacement. Yes, they're a secretary, and yes, if we're supposed to legally have a secretary, we already have one. It's already defined as the executive director. Okay. I'm just questioning it being put under officer.
Okay. So, here's the issue. You're asking for a point of information that the body has already voted on and approved to place on the ballot. I do have some reservations about what it is that you're saying, and I do think it is our responsibility to go back and look at this and make sure that it's right, because your bylaws are your documents that you have to live with. And to make a change like that, so depending on which side that you voted on, Sarah, you can make a motion to reconsider that would require a 2/3 vote, is that correct? To go back and reconsider that so that the verbiage can be changed. But you would have to make a motion to reconsider the vote, because I know it's bothering you. Make a motion to reconsider and have a second, and then the body votes on whether or not they want to go back and address it. What would you like to do?
I'd like to make a motion to reconsider.
Okay.
And I'll second.
Okay.
So
Well, wait, hold it. Don't debate yet. Okay. Tell us why you want to reconsider.
I want to reconsider the motion to take secretary out of the definition of officer. It's already stated as an executive director is a secretary, so we've got the legal side because we have the secretary. But defining it as officer redefines what the executive director is.
Okay, so the question before you is to reconsider having secretary under an officer's designation that we've already voted on, and to revisit that. Okay, is there anyone who wants to speak? No, it's just a vote, isn't it? It's a straight vote. All in favor of reconsidering? Point of information.
I'm sorry, but again, going back to the MSEA legal counsel, did she say that in order for us to comply with Maryland law, secretary has to be put in under officers, or is it good enough that it be under the section of the executive director and the point that he is also the secretary?
She did in fact say it needed to be there, and she provided the actual Maryland law that requires it.
I see. So we have to have it in there.
Well, it was her opinion that it should be.
Okay.
And may I, then we need to change the definition of officer or to include the secretary of whatever. Just to change the definition of officer.
We gotta have the vote to reconsider first. She wrote on a point of information. Am I right? Okay. Those, point of information, microphone one.
Point of information, Rolling Chair, Board of Directors, through the chair to the chair of the board. Is it possible for us just to insert in parentheses executive director in that section, and that would then clear all of this up?
Well, I can only say that this is how legal counsel recommended it should read. And she was aware that it is addressed that the executive director is the secretary of the corporation later in the bylaws. And I don't want to be arguing for or against, but I would think that her response to this would be that the qualifications section specifies if a member is going to be an officer. And since the executive director is not a member, he or she would not need to meet these qualifications to be the secretary. And I know that may not have answered, but it's the best I've got.
Ms. Sherman, I have an amendment that's coming to the floor that I think will solve this problem. Okay, can I get it on the floor, please? Please. We need a motion to reconsider, please.
We already had it, and it's
I need the vote to reconsider.
I thought you wanted to amend it first.
Now we need to make the motion to reconsider.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Please make a motion to reconsider.
It's already been motioned.
So please vote to reconsider. This is going to solve the problem. We won't have to come back to this next year. Okay? I see 2/3. Donna, Christie?
Let's see you're opposed.
Opposed.
Point of information.
You need to call for your opposition.
No, I got 2/3.
Well, you have to see.
Rick, I was going to recommend a friendly amendment under Section 2 qualification, that in order for a member to be an elected officer of the association, and that would make,
okay.
Sorry.
That was where we were going, Michelle. Do you have a second?
Donna Christie, Board of Directors, I second that.
Okay, so the amendment would be to delete secretary under section 1 and add under qualifications, section 2, in order for a member to be an elected officer of the association.
Teresa, I did not mean to delete secretary, since legal counsel thinks it needs to be there.
I didn't say delete.
You just did.
Leave it.
Oh, leave it. I'm sorry. I misheard. My fault.
Okay. Got a first and a second. Debate. Anybody want to say anything? Donna?
I was gonna speak to the motion.
I'm losing my audience here.
So, I know, basically, this just because the secretary is not an elected officer, that way we don't have to worry about them being in good standing and whatnot in section 2, only speaks to those officers that are elected then with this amendment, and so that way the secretary can be an unelected and can be appointed by as the executive director. Meanwhile, you still have to be in good standing to be elected to the other 3 officer positions.
The parliamentarian would agree with that interpretation.
Okay, seeing no green or red cards at the microphone, I put the question before you without objection. All in favor of the amendment as presented, please raise your voting cards. All opposed? Abstentions? Okay, so now we're moving right along. Where are we, Charles?
We are at the bottom of the page, Article 4 Officers, Section 4 President, item C.
Point of order.
Do we have quorum to continue?
Is that an official call for a
Is that an
quorum? If
official call?
it is, we will not be able to have bylaws on the ballot.
Yes, we will. The ones that we've done up to this point will be on the
We
ballot.
have not voted to approve this.
The ones that we already approved.
It's a very simple parliamentary situation. If you call for a quorum and one is not present, no further action can occur at this meeting.
Yeah, no
And
further.
that means that this document will not be on the ballot that members vote on.
Wait a minute, I just want to stand corrected. I just want to ask a question. We voted on several pieces of this already. We didn't get through the whole document, okay? So what I'm asking, and I think the question is, will the things that we've already voted for, those things can already be put on the ballot, is that correct? We've already voted on them, the body
I
has
have a
approved.
difficult time with that, but you may be able to interpret that, yes.
Well, if we can interpret it that way, then I call it a quorum. If we can't interpret it that way,
Parliamentary quandary, and I told you
All right.
not to correct.
Okay, so, in light of that, what I'm going to ask you to do, because quorum has been called, the items that have already been approved, the chair is going to rule that those items have already been passed. Subsequent items on the ballot, we will have to postpone the vote on those until our next meeting in January. It is still possible to get the electronic ballots produced in time for the elections in March. So, at least in past practice it has been. So, at this point, I'm going to rule that we do not have quorum. Therefore, we cannot conduct any more business because has the NECC ruled on that? We don't have quorum, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask that the bylaws committee chair receive a round of applause for a lot of work that he has put into this. And what I'm going to also ask of you is to be mindful and take a look at these. If there are any problems that you see with any of the other changes that you want to have made or want to suggest, I would ask that you keep this for the next rec council meeting in January and be prepared, because the motion that I'm going to take in January, because we have a lot of business going on in January, is shall we send this entire document out as passed by the body? I see you, Yvonne. Hold on. Okay, does everybody understand that? Okay. Point of information, microphone 2.
Yes, on December 17th.
Excuse me.
If we have a quorum, can we finish this? Can we take half an hour and finish it? December 17th, we will be at the NEA.
I'm going to say no, because that meeting's agenda has already been put together, and I do not want to take away from that meeting. That meeting is way too much for us to, because this could take the whole meeting. Point of information, microphone 1.
Rowena Sharon, Board of Directors. To the chair, I'm going to respectfully request that at the next meeting, we put bylaws at the beginning.
I will put it at the first thing on the agenda. Thank you very much. Microphone 2.
Laura Downey, Chapel Forge. Sort of related, we talked about last time, if committee chairs were to give us written reports, we could move through and still get that important information.
Thank you. We didn't take an official motion to extend the meeting at 6:45 like we should have. It's time for member petitions and comments. If you